I have college football fans ask me all the time to do team-specific exclusive live streams for their team. My response, especially now that I'm doing this full-time, full throttle all the time, and this is my profession, this is my business, this is what we do all the time, is if you give me a sponsor, or it can be supported by individual contributions, then I would love to do a team-specific live stream for you. I had a Nebraska fan contact me in November and say, would like for you to do a Nebraska team live stream. And I said, if you give me a sponsor, I will. And they got me a sponsor within 3 or 4 days, and we did a Nebraska live show for the next 10 weeks. I would love to do a Nebraska live show every week. I would love to do a Purdue live show every week, Kansas State, Stanford every week. I don't care who, I would do them all. But these live streams will be launched based on individual contributions and based on sponsorships. And the current live streams that we do, whether it be Miami, Florida State, or Ohio State, will only continue with individual contributions or sponsorships as well. So it's Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Would like to welcome you in, Miami fans. You are being served a double dose of Miami football content today. Please join our previous live stream with Paul from Paul Scoop on the U that we posted at 2 o'clock Eastern Time live with you. That was a great conversation with Paul. Check it out. Hit that like button on all the videos, please. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to our Miami channel as well, which is simply a repurposing of this content, but also exclusive live streams that we do primarily during the season. So check us out on our Miami channel, and please sub over there as well as here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Hit that bell for the notifications. That way you know when we're going live. So hopefully, as we've done now for 120 times, we're going to continue for a long, long time in bringing you Miami Hurricanes live based on your individual contributions and sponsorship opportunities. So we are waiting on the Wholesome One. He will be here in just a few minutes to talk Miami football with you. In the meantime, I will dive in the live chat and talk it up with all of you. Keep in mind that we've got a ton of content posted to our channel, as we always do. Yesterday on National Signing Day, I posted videos on North Carolina, Ole Miss, Georgia, Mississippi State, Minnesota, Oklahoma, Ohio State, Kentucky, LSU, and Florida State, of course, our live show with Florida State at 6 o'clock. And a little bit later, we're talking Alabama football, and then we're doing a Notre Dame show hopefully sometime tomorrow. So check out those videos. For those of you that love the breakdowns of scheduling and playoffs and conference realignment and enjoy videos like that, you don't need to go anywhere else. You don't need to go anywhere else for anybody else's scheduling format, because people are throwing out playoff formats left and right. You can find everybody's playoff proposal, and we all have the right as Americans to do so, unless there's a particular faction or power out there that limits that freedom of speech like others have been. But in the meantime, we all have our freedom to propose our own playoff system. I will do the same, but first, and I am probably the only one to do this, and I would love to have somebody find anyone else who, along with a playoff proposal, is also proposing a scheduling fix. Because you cannot equitably determine the playoff system, a good playoff system, a credible playoff system. I'm not talking about throwing 4 teams out there and just selecting them out of a hat like we do now. I'm talking about a credible playoff system. The playoff system that we have now is, number one, it's not a playoff system. It's an invitational. You have to be invited. You understand, in the NFL, that's not an invitational. Nobody's inviting anyone. Those teams met the criteria of the playoff. The playoff system criteria is laid out, and the teams that meet the criteria make the playoffs. If you don't meet the criteria, you can't be selected to the playoffs. If you meet the criteria, you can't be banded from the playoffs. So right now we've got a invitational at the end of the season to determine the national champion. I will be proposing a legitimate playoff system, as I have in the past, but we'll dust it off, clean it up, and repost it. But first, we got to fix scheduling, both in conference. In-conference scheduling is broken. Not a lot of people recognize that. When we talk scheduling fixes in college football, a lot of people are focused on the lack of big games in non-conference play, the lack of Power 5 teams that play each other in non-conference, and I'm certainly on board with that. So we're going to fix non-conference scheduling first, but first we're going to fix conference scheduling because that is broken as well, severely broken. All right, Miami fans, we're awaiting the Wholesome One's arrival. Let's dive into the live chat, and I would let everyone know that our Miami doubleheader of sorts with Paul Scoop on the U and now with the Wholesome One this afternoon is brought to you by Ronan. It's brought to you by Ronan. Ronan, thank you so much for delivering today's shows. He didn't know that. He didn't intentionally deliver these shows. We were going to do them anyway, but bottom line, Ronan has delivered these two shows. So thank Ronan. He is our honorary sponsor for today for his tremendous support in all the things that he does, both in the live chat and financially in supporting the channel and this specific show. All right, let's see what we got. Razorbacks Rule, it's great to see you. We will be talking some Arkansas football here soon. In the meantime, Razorbacks Rule joins us for our other live streams. Just wants to hear some college football talk. Arkansas prediction for 2021 at 8-4. After two consecutive winless seasons in the SEC, bolstered by a 3-7, should have been 4-6 with the Auburn debacle counted in there. 4-6 this past season. 8-4 would be an epic climb for Arkansas football, considering they play in the SEC Western Division. They also, I believe, I know that Missouri's on the schedule from the East, and then the rotation comes up on Georgia. Is that right? I looked at it the other day, but I didn't post anything on it, but I was looking at Arkansas' schedule. They've got the one difficult date against Texas out of conference. So 8-4 is pretty aggressive. We've got, certainly, if anybody leaves any NBA trash in the live chat, certainly go ahead and talk NBA in the live chat, but I will not be posting any of that garbage to the screen. All right. Vinay, Ohio State, 12-0 with a push to the Natty. 904 Hurricane, thank you so much. We always appreciate you encouraging everyone to hit the like button. That is key. Also, again, keep in mind that this show will continue. As it stands right now, it's continuing based on the individual contributions of you, and will only continue that way. I don't want to even think or talk about ending our live streams. 904 Hurricane, I'm still working today on the mower cutting grass, but I will be listening on the headphones, and then later I will be part of the hashtag rewatch squad. Appreciate that. Tabardine with his typical delusional take on the Miami game right there. We got Chugmo Beer on the line with a super chat. We'll get to that. Uh, 904 Hurricane, we will get this question out to the Wholesome One about Ja'Cory Brown, the Florida commit. Razorbacks rule. Mark, where are you? I'm on set in beautiful Connecticut. Shane, this looks awfully close to the same question you asked us at 2 o'clock. Biggest immediate impact with new coaching additions, recruiting, or development? Razorbacks rule. We'll have a call-in show very soon. I don't know when the next one's going to be. I need to set up a specific live stream schedule and stick to it. So I need to get to that. I know that we're going to be live with a call-in show every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern time, but maybe I'll put that on the to-do list to try to finally nail down and figure out my schedule with everything else included to lock in on a call-in show schedule. Unfortunately, we've not been able to, for a long, long time, lock in on a Miami schedule. We just have to get these together when we can. So Razorbacks rule called last night? Really? I don't remember that. Sorry. I'm here. I'm here. Where are you? Mark. I'm here. Vinay, I totally forgot Arkansas even had a football team. Oh, come on, Vinay. You can be better than that. Arkansas has one of the proud football traditions in college football. Love Arkansas football. I am happier when Arkansas is relevant, when they're winning, when they're doing something. Any Ohio State fan should realize that they were a poor read by Ryan Mallett away from losing the 2011 Sugar Bowl to Arkansas. Terrence Simpleton asking about Avante Williams. We'll pass that on. Jordan Bowman, perfect timing, Mark. I've been grading lab reports for the last hour. How brutal. Yeah, let's give you a break. Razorbacks rule. Hey, Mark, I'm back. I love you. It's good to be loved. Terrence, thank you. Got Mike 3883 on the line, as well as the Rod Farva. Nate, the depressed Wolverine fan. Oh, hey. Shake him up. Smoke? I have a sponsor. Shake him up, Smoke. Hopefully you're still on the line. Hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail. MarkRogersTV at Gmail. Easy to remember. Shake 'em up, Smove. You're speaking my language there. Perfect. Let's get that done. Much appreciated. Cheryl, Buckeye fan, is here. Cheryl, one of the faithful ones who joins us on just about every live stream. And Cheryl is the moderator. We've got 9 moderators, but nobody else seems to show up. So we've got Cheryl. Jordan, I will apologize. I believe you're a moderator as well. Do I have that right? And you guys are going to have to bear with me because my voice is just not in good shape. So we've got 9 moderators, but Cheryl's picking up for everybody else. Bears, Cubs, Canes. Good to see you. EJ Rod, Mark, it was funny messing with the Florida State people the other night on their show. Just so you're having a good time. I really don't know what you're talking about, but you're having a good time. That's why we're here. We are an entertainment platform. Razorbacks rule going out on a limb with the Alabama-Georgia SEC championship game prediction. ADOT is predicting. Now this is the most phenomenal prediction I've come across this entire offseason and maybe of all time, because ADOT is it's one thing to predict a team's going to win a championship or these two teams are going to play in the championship game. ADOT is predicting between now, February 4th, whatever it is, February 4th, and the beginning of the college football season, that the SEC is going to realign. There is going to be a major realignment announcement out of the SEC that will enable Alabama and Arkansas to play in the SEC championship game in 2021. So ADOT, that's a phenomenal prediction. Blaine Boy, hey Mark, what do you think about Miami's coaching staff? Do you think it is a recipe for success? Blaine, I can only go by their previous track records. So in the case of Travaris Robinson and Trevion Williams, I would say that those are home run hires. Other than that, we're going to lean on our Miami folks to comment on that. But from the outside standpoint of just looking at resumes and their ability to develop talent, so there's a number of ways to look back on. We did this a few months ago with Rhett Lashley's offense at Miami, and I went through his coaching career and I determined, okay, at every stop, how was that offense performing pre-Rhett Lashley, and then what did it produce under his tenure, and then what happened after he left. Now, there's a lot of other things that weigh into the equation that's out of that particular coordinator's control. You know, there might have been a generational quarterback in the program before he got there or after he got there. So there are other factors, injuries, et cetera, et cetera. But generally, you can get a pretty good beat on a coordinator by looking at the productivity of the offense or the defense before he got there, during his time there, and then afterwards. And that's what I did with Rhett Lashley. With individual position coaches, I think it's more about looking at the production of that position, which is more difficult to break down. Let's say it's a linebackers coach. Let's say the defense was trash, but that was mostly due to the defensive line and the secondary. Then it's difficult to evaluate the linebacker play. But you can do a similar study of those assistant coaches. Did those units improve under their tenure? Did they develop players who were not slam dunk NFL players? Did they develop 3-star and 4-star players into NFL players? Did players improve under their watch? You guys, as Miami fans, certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but while the likes of the trio that played linebacker at Miami starting in 2016, I believe was when they were freshmen, 2016, 17, 18, and 19. Shaq Quarterman, Michael Pinckney, and those guys, did they get better? Did that unit, those players on that unit that position coach was coaching, did they get better while he was there? That's a trio that I think stalemated. They didn't get better. All right. I think we're there. We got the old one on the line. How's it going, man?
What's up, Mark? Can you hear me good?
I'm good. We hear
Good,
you.
good. Perfect.
I hear a little bit of a reverb. I don't know why.
Really? Okay.
I'm hearing me on your end of things.
No problem. I'll just switch my headphones.
Sweet. We've got a line of questions already set up for you.
Can you hear me clear now?
Oh, sounds better too. Appreciate
Perfect.
you
All
doing
right.
that. How we doing today,
No
Wholesome
problem.
One?
I'm doing well, man. Just we in the grind. We in the grind. So I had to switch out my green and gold for orange and green. So it's all good.
Absolutely. Let's get to the first question. All right, coming in from 904 Hurricane. So he's asking whether you've seen the film on 2022 quarterback recruit Ja'Curry Brown. I would love to see Miami take a shot at him and steal him away from the Gators.
I actually haven't. I mean, we just finished 2021 904.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, signing day officially was yesterday, so no, I do not know who that is, but I know somebody to add to the list of scouts. I mean, especially because we just got a pretty solid QB in Jake Garcia, his past recruiting class. So I don't know if we'll be able to go after, take another huge step like that. But if we do, why not?
Wholesome One, we got Shane on the line asking biggest immediate impact with the new coaching additions, whether that be recruiting or development.
Whew, man. Mark, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to hear you and Paul. I was at work, so I don't know if you guys talked about it. But T. Will, man, that his interview yesterday, Mark, is what you and when you've heard these pressers, once you hear one, you kind of hear them all. There's different category of pressers. There's like the energetic presser. There's the just do your job, coach, and then there's kind of like a mix of in between. Uh, T. Will was full of energy, and we haven't had a coach like that, especially at an impactful position like linebacker. I mean, talking about not just the simple stuff, Mark, of like, oh, attention to detail and playing hard and giving effort. No. He made every linebacker go up to the board and write down a Miami Hurricanes linebacker. Like, not everyone write down Ray Lewis. Not everyone write down John Miller. Jonathan Vilman, excuse me. Every single one of them had to sit down and write someone different and why they felt like they were good or great at the University of Miami and what they brought to the table, or whether it was just the physicality, the athleticism, the leadership, all of those things. And what do they think made that player take that step up? And what could you do to even be in the same sentence as guys like that? And just understand what you carry. And the biggest thing that I took from that is he finished that by saying, Mark, it's not even about the names on there. I just wanted you to know what you carry. I wanted you to know what you hold when you walk around with that U on your chest. Because, yes, you do play for the name on the back of your jersey, but you also play for the name in the front and the jersey on the side and the logo on the side of your helmet, man. It's playing at Miami. It's an opportunity, but it's also a privilege, of once you put pen to paper, you got to take that step because you were able to get here and get that scholarship, man. And that type of stuff it was beautiful to hear coach speak like that, man. I had somebody tweet at me and said, because I put like, all right, I admit it, he's my favorite coach on the staff. And someone tweeted at me and literally said, you loved him because you were looking in the mirror. That's something you would say if you got the Miami Hurricanes job. That's something you would do with whatever position. And they were right. They were right. So I really love T. Will and to talk about him as a coach. So, yes, I really love what he said. That's one thing. But what he's done at Auburn. Because if we're being honest, Auburn is always second fiddle to Alabama. Like the arguably greatest dynasty ever in college football. And they have to be more of developers because, yes, Auburn does bring in some solid 4-stars, and they've had some 5-stars swing every now and again. But for the most part, they have that, top tier 3-star, lowly 4-star players is what fills their roster for majority of the time. He's been a linebacker coach there for 7 years. So he has developed their inside linebackers and their 34 multiple defense for the last 7 seasons. Okay, now that brings a certain focus to a coach because it's not about going out and bringing in the 5-star linebacker that everybody in the country wants. It's also about bringing in a young man. When you turn that film on, something pops to you. something grasp you when you watch him play linebacker, a position that is just so important. I think we've lost that. We had Denzel Perryman, we've had Sean Spence, but none of them are even in the same sentence of some of the elite linebackers that Miami has had. The drop off really happened with like Tavares Gooden and John Beeson. Like they were the last like solid, really, really good first round caliber linebackers. And DP52 was the last one that was close to them. And we've struggled at linebacker ever since Denzel Perryman left to go 50th overall to the Chargers. It's been a position of need for a while. And to have someone who understands the importance of a star system, but to the point where he said, Mark, in his presser, he has his own star system. He creates his own star chart based on the young men that he sees deserves a scholarship for whatever institution that he's working at the time, man. So T. Will is definitely my number one. Number two, Jess Simpson. Okay, Jess Simpson is a defensive line coach who was here after Coach Kulagowski in the year 2018 when the Miami Hurricanes led college football in TFLs and had a top 3 defense. Now, do I expect those exact same statistics? No, because I understand that it is an ever-moving thing. College football continues to grow. But you're getting a coach who left you for a defensive line position in the National Football League. It's not like he left to go to Bama, LSU, Georgia. No. He went to one of the only 32 jobs out there to head to the National Football League. And he, once those coaches were fired, comes down to be assistant head coach and defensive line coach here at the U. So we appreciate it. And another thing, Mark, I love to hear as a communications 2-time grad, there's something that we use, and it's a term called "I can hear your smile." When you're on the phone with somebody and they're talking about something that they really love, you can hear the joy and the happiness oozing out of them as they speak about it. And you could just really look at someone when they're on camera and the genuine love they have to talk about impacting young men's lives and impacting them not only as football players, but as people, as human beings. And I believe that Coach Diaz hired these coaches, and all of them spoke about that, about the parents. Yes, the prospect. Yes, this player, he's a 4 or 5-star man. He could go anywhere. What about building a relationship with his parents? What about making sure his mother understands that we want to get him a degree? What about his father understanding that I want to help build him as a young man? What about him understanding that there is an on and off the field version of you? And we want to make the best of both of those two things, okay? These coaches all spoke about that. That's Coach Jed Simpson, T. Rob, T. Will, DeMarcus Van Dyke, the 4 new assistant coaches that Coach Diaz has added. That means that is in the program, and that is either was a part of them before they got to the University of Miami, or it's something that Coach Diaz is really working on putting in the program, and that makes me happy.
Got the wholesome one here for an hour, folks. Let's take advantage. Leave your comments, your questions, your debate topics there in the live chat. We will get to them. Thank you so much, Chugmo Beer. Appreciate the super chat contribution. You know that. Hello, Mark, the hardest working man on YouTube. Let's go Canes. Smash the like button. The Canes have a great coaching staff now. Let's go Canes.
We got a pretty good coaching staff, all right? Let's also understand, man, these coaches can say all the right things. And yes, they may have some history to back up what they're saying, but let's give them some time. Let's wait until some games are being played. Let's wait until some practices are happening. Okay, let's not keep falling into the same ditch. At every institution, they have these coaches that come in and they cycle. That's why it's called a coaching carousel, okay? Once that coach gets in there and infuses his way of doing things, you want to see how it meshes well with the players. Let's not start with the whole great staff stuff yet. Let's tone it down a little bit.
You may want to check during your roundtable tonight. So Paul was letting us know that everybody needs to check out his channel. You're going to be on there tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and some other Miami folks. You guys are going to do it up big. We want everyone to head on over there. And you may want to verify this for me. I believe Paul said that you've got a top 10 to 15 coaching staff
in the country, or
you guys can mix it up. in the country. I think he's excited. Paul's usually pretty critical. The times that Paul's been on here, which I'm getting to know him a little bit better since we've had him on more frequently recently, he's pretty critical of Miami football and the lack of development and in a lot of areas. So I was surprised to hear that out of him. But he's obviously very happy with the hires.
I only laugh because it only hurts because pride comes before the fall, Mark. And for my years of studying it and doing it on camera, with you for the last 2 years and 3 years on YouTube, we always get excited. It's just what happens when you have a new toy. And yes, you might be unboxing a new PS5, but you got to plug it in and turn it on to make sure that it works. Okay, you got to put the video game in the system or download the game to the system and then hit play to make sure that your controller works and that it's queued up right. Okay, like we just got to give it some time. Man, it sounds good. We're looking at the packaging and it looks beautiful. All the videos we read on it, all the YouTube stuff we looked up on it, all the audio on it, it sounds great. You got to unbox, okay? You got to plug it in and you got to play. These coaches, they've already started building relationships with the young men on the roster. They're building a relationship with the young men they want to be a part of our team moving forward in recruiting. They're building a relationship with the parents of both. Eventually, here in the next couple of weeks, we'll get them on the field. I'm excited. I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer. I'm not here to down talk it. I just want us to understand as a fan base that we have to give these coaches time to get on the field and mesh with the young men. We got to see it. Are they upgrades? Absolutely. I think we've upgraded at every single position. We got to make sure that we give it time to mesh first. See what I mean? 11-1.
Paul and I were talking about the schedule a couple of hours ago, and I let we didn't dive deep into it, but Alabama's, I'm not saying it's an impossibility, but it's basically a loss.
Yes.
And that's not a knock against Miami. That's like anybody in the country. Anybody in the country, if we were talking about Oklahoma, if we were talking about Penn State, Texas, we could be talking about a lot of tremendous programs, and I would be saying the same thing, automatic loss. There's only about 3 teams in the country that I'd say, Alabama should still beat them, but they've got a good chance, and that would be Ohio State and Georgia and Clemson. That's about it. But even I would be saying Alabama's probably still going to win the game. So that's not a knock against Miami. That's basically saying that you're going up against the gold standard. Okay. The Michigan State game, I believe that Miami should win that game by 2 touchdowns, something in that range. But the thing is that Miami's a more talented team, but Michigan State, they're going to show up and they'll be physical. It's going to be a physical game. They'll show up and hit you. They may not be as fast, as skilled, as talented, but they're going to show up and they're going to hit you, and you're going to have to be ready for a tough game. And Appalachian State, again, there should be no comparison in regards to us rating the 2 rosters, but man, they're a sneaky good club out of the Sun Belt Conference, and they play everybody tough. Now, you guys did go down there. What year was that? 2017? 16. Went down there and handled them pretty well, and that was typically one of their Sun Belt championship teams. But that's the difference between being a good Power 5 team, a top 15 to 20 team that year. That was the 9-4 Mark Richt first year, right?
Yes, sir.
And being a Sun Belt champion, that's like the 60th best team in the country. There's a wide gap there.
The other thing is that's the last time where we had a solid staff. And, that really helps because you could have a really extremely well-coached team who's 3 stars or lower. They give super high effort, and they do their jobs at such a high level that sometimes they could play up, a la Cincinnati, Georgia. You literally watch the team where no one on Cincinnati's team could start at Georgia. No one. And it was a field goal game because of the level of coaching. Miami and App State, those 2 games are completely different levels, but I'm just saying, you had a App State team that went on to win the Sun Belt that year, and I think only lost 2 games, but one of them was to Miami. You know, they were a solid squad, and if Al Golden and his staff were still there, we most likely lose that game. That's just what happens when you have bad coaches, and that you could have 4 or 5-star talent or 3-star talent, and they're getting coached bad with bad schemes, and you're going to lose to average teams. That's just how it is.
And I also think it's fair to say, I can't prove this, but it's fair to say that if Cincinnati and Georgia played again and again and again and again and again, then that talent separation and that depth separation would start to show itself. Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't have a 24-21. And Cincinnati's going down to the Peach Bowl to play Georgia one time, and they're letting it all hang out and giving them all they got. Georgia was missing a number of early entries into the NFL draft as well. Like they had a laundry list of guys that missed the game, you know, like 10, 11 dudes that are missing the game, not because they're at the end of the bench, but because they're going to play in the NFL. So,
yep.
Again, all credit to Cincinnati for playing a really good game and staying in that game to the final minute. They should have won the game, actually. But, man, if those teams played over and over and over again, I think that 24-21 would start to be 34-17, 41-17. You know, it would start to widen out.
Absolutely.
We got Ronan. So, wholesome one, I have dedicated this entire doubleheader of Miami football coverage to Ronan because this guy delivers. This guy wants Miami football content, appreciates it, and certainly there are others out there, 904 Hurricane, and I could name a long list of others, but Ronan's been especially generous with his contributions, and we appreciate him. So Ronan is saying here on the Super Chat, even on his brand new dial-up internet, Wholesome's still bringing the knowledge. Everyone hit the like and support the vision. Keep up the great work, gentlemen, at Go Canes. Ronan's even latched on to me calling it the vision. He's one of the few that mentions that, you know, I allude to the vision. This is a vision that we're built. This is all tangible stuff, the set and the little helmets and everything, but there's a lot more to it in my brain, in my heart, the vision, just like your vision for your career, your aspirations. You know, you're making it happen. You're going out there, you're doing the hard work, but you're also dreaming here, and then you go take the actions to make it happen.
Absolutely. It's funny, I'll give you a backstory on the dial-up. So I tried to do it live on Monday, Mark, and I was able to, I moved a little further away from campus. You know, now that I'm done with school, I don't really need to be that. I just need to be able to get there, you know, for practice or whatever. But besides that, I moved away from over there. And I'm in a new apartment, spent the last like 5-6 days moving stuff over here. And so I get here, and they provide Wi-Fi at the place that I'm at. But I already had a modem because I need a super high level of Wi-Fi for all that I do. And so I wasn't able to have any of it. So I was using a hotspot for my laptop. And it was just the first hour was good. After that, it just went really bad. So that's why I use my phone now. But yeah, that's why they used the dial-up internet, and North Dakota Wi-Fi was another thing they used to say at the other spot. So that was real funny, man. But that's just why he said the new dial-up.
Nice. All right. What else is on your mind? Before I can get
about the Canes, man. It feels good to finally have a staff, Mark. You know, when you've wanted something for so long, and it seems to be coming about, it's kind of surreal to a certain extent. And I don't want people to think that I'm saying Miami's turning into Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson. That's not what I'm saying. But it just feels good to feel that people care about something as much as you do. That should. It's no way over these years you've had half a dozen Miami Hurricanes representatives sit in the same spot I am and tell you week in and week out, show in and show out the problems with this program. And to see a lot of it being addressed, it brings a smile to my face. And I try not to get too excited because I've been hurt by this program for so long. I've been hurt by people who don't deserve to have a job here, have a job there. You know, and what I mean by don't deserve is they weren't necessarily qualified just yet. I'll use that terminology because I don't want to disrespect someone else's blessings, you know, because if I got picked up and dropped at Ohio State right now as a defensive line assistant and somebody's bashing me like, well, they offered me the job, of course I'm gonna take it. You know, like I would want people to be happy for me. I just want Miami to understand who and what they are and stop settling. And for the first time, it seems as though they're doing it. Because everyone wants to talk about the old teams, Mark, but if you look at, you want to talk about how good the players were. Think about the staffs and future head coaches in college and in the NFL who were on those staffs at Miami and got their career started or had a stint at Miami. Talk about Ed Reed. You know who his secondary coach was, Mark, off the top of your head?
Are we talking about at Miami?
Yep.
Secondary coach around 2000 at Miami. One of the Blythe brothers?
You were really close with brothers. One of the Stoops brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he's at Kentucky right now. Is that Bob or?
Yeah, I was just you were kind of leading me in a way. I thought it was a legacy in the family.
No.
That's
I
what
was
direction I
just
was
saying,
going.
as far as you look at Stoops, who went on to be a very good DC and eventually a pretty solid head coach
Sure.
in the
Doing a
college
great
football
job.
league.
Doing a really
He
good
was
job.
just the DB's coach at Miami. You get what I'm saying? Like Chuck Pagano was DC linebackers, NFL coach. You know what I'm trying to tell you? Like Butch Davis, we talk about his time with the Browns. I mean, that organization is kaput. It's doing good now, but he left us to go where? NFL. And if I had a whole list, I probably could go down 12, 15 names of people who've had success in other places from our staff. But these are the players these are the coaches who are teaching you. You know, a lot of times when you have kids who act up and don't do well, you don't bash the kid. Who do you speak to? The parent. Who's teaching? Who's creating a foundation? Who's setting a standard? And it's very similar, just like with the teacher. As a parent, you know, if I know my child is bright, my child understands certain things, but I don't feel like he's learning anything. So I don't go at my child. Once I ask he or she enough questions and they can't answer it, I'm calling the school to speak to the who? Teacher. Who is also setting a standard. Who is also giving you the information and seeing if you can regurgitate it and if you're holding it inside and if you can go up and answer the math question. So the people who we've had to point fingers to for the longest are the coaches. Because who recruits the players? The coaches. Who develops the players? Sometimes it's player on player coaching and player on player development. But for the most part, coaches. They're the ones getting paid. Who are the adults in the room? The coaches. So therefore, if you go cheap or mediocre at who does the developing, who does the recruiting, and who does the teaching, then you're going to get that response back on the football field. You're going to get mediocre players in your uniform. You're going to get mediocre schemes out there on the football field. You're going to get mediocre coaching, culture, because they set the standard for all of those things. So it's nice. I feel happy about what I've seen. I just hope that it's not a flash in the pan. I'm hoping that it's not something that is just here for 1 second and go on the next. I'm hoping we're able to continue to build and upgrade and update this staff over the next couple of years.
Wholesome one. How long you've been watching the Canes?
24 years.
24.
Yeah, I'm 24.
Well. At what point do you think you were able to evaluate what you were watching?
Oh, okay. If you look at it like that, I would probably say 10, 11 years, something like that.
Okay. Well,
right before high
we'll
school.
go back to 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, forget the records unless you think they're credible. Forget the performance on the field in regards to a record, meaning we could answer this question by simply saying which team had the best record. Um, which of those Miami teams in the last 10 to 11 seasons, which one was the best? What's the best Miami team that you've seen play?
Oh, dang it. That's a great. It's funny you say that because I literally did like a playoff bracket on my channel and on Twitter with the 2009 Randy Shannon's coach team,
Yep.
the 2013 Al Golden squad,
Mm-hmm.
the 2017 Mark Rick squad, and the
Yeah.
2020 Manny Diaz staff.
Oh, okay.
Squad. Now, yeah, the 2020 team is not as like, if you go by record, they're nowhere near the other ones. But as far as like talented and how they played from game to game, you would argue the 2020 may be the best and most well prepared out of all of them. I mean, let's still remember, yes, it was week whatever versus Clemson, but that was a game till halftime, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
The best, that hurts, and that's scary to say because my
Well, you
heart.
already laid the groundwork. You already did it, right?
Yeah. My heart would tell me the 2009 because those were the players who I watched going to the Mecca Trash Pile Stadium in
Yep.
Miami-Dade County, watching those freshmen from Miami Northwestern transition to the University of Miami. So I would love to say that 2019. They've had some NFL guys on that team. You got Alan Bailey was on that squad. Sean Spence, Olivier Vernon were on that spot. Lamar Miller was on that team. DeMarcus Van Dyke, our new cornerbacks coach, is on that team. Mike James was on that squad too. Ja'Cory Harris. So you Orlando Franklin, 10-year vet, offensive guard for the Denver Broncos, was on that team. But the best Miami Hurricanes team the last decade. Whoo, that's a tough one, man. Irregardless of record, right?
Sure. Otherwise, we would just take the team with the best record, which would be the 17 team, right? 10 and 3.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna have to say the 2013 team. That 2013. Stephen Morris,
Okay.
Duke Johnson, Eric Flowers, Brandon Linder, Shane McDermott, John Feliciano, Santrell Henderson at offensive line. That's your quarterback, running back, offensive line.
Okay.
Every person I just named was in the NFL more than 3 seasons.
Okay. Yeah.
And one of them was a top 10 pick in Chantrell and Eric Flowers, still in the NFL. John Feliciano now is doing big things at center. The highest paid center in the National Football League, Brandon Linder, is on that team. Was on that team also. Let's go out to the wide receivers. You got Stacey Coley. You have Philip Dorsett. You have Herb Waters. You have Rayshawn Scott. You have Malcolm Lewis on that team at wide receiver. At tight end, you have Clyde Walford, who was backed up at that time by Boa Sandland, who's Christopher Herndon was really young on that squad too. And you also had this number 82, Asante Cleveland, who was he didn't really do much. I'm just really kind of showing off my knowledge here with no pen or paper, guys.
Oh, I love these conversations. I love going back in time.
Straight knowledge. I mean, it was so bad. I'll get to the defense. One of my good friends bought NCAA all over, like the video game for the PS3, which had the factory rosters. I was able to name him every single player on the 2013, at least starters, height, weight, number, and hometown off the top of my head. No questions asked. Off this team, I'm about to spew off to you. All right. At nose tackle in the 34, you had Curtis Porter. At defensive end, you had Anthony Chickalo and Shayon Green. You also had Olsen, number 91. What's Olsen's first name? It'll come to me. Anyway, your inside linebackers, you had Denzel Perryman and Jimmy Gaines. You also had the young edge rushers of Al-Quadin Muhammad, who was drafted for the Saints, still in the NFL, starter for the Colts, and Tyreek McCord. We ruined that young man. He was big time, in my opinion, number 17. You also talk about the secondary. You had Tracy Howard at corner. On the other side, you had Ladarius Gunter. You also had Antonio Crawford, number 21 at nickel. Free and strong safety, you had Casey Rogers, number 22. You had number 26, Rayshawn Jenkins. Number 6, Jamal Carter. Who else was in that secondary? 22 and 26 were my free and strong. So I got that. All my starters. Okay. That squad, listen, if they ran a 4-2-5, and if they had a spread multiple offense, man, oh man, Mark. Man, oh man, what we could have did. I mean, you also talk about that team. That was a team that went 7 straight, went up to Tallahassee, and played them. Duke Johnson gets hurt mid-second quarter, kind of breaks the heart of the team. End up getting blown out from that point forward. But, how did I forget? Allen Hurns at wide receiver. He was the person that scored both touchdowns over Ramsey. For us to be, I think we were down 13-21 at the half. So somewhere in there, maybe you had a lead, to be honest with you, 13-10. Because that Tallahassee team, they played horrible first halves. But they sat and made those adjustments, and the game was over like, from that point on. But yeah, man, wow. That's actually kind of impressive on top of my head.
Yeah, definitely was. So that team started out by beating FAU 34-6, beat Florida 21-16. I remember that game. Gators were ranked 12th. I watched that game. Savannah State 77-7, USF 49-21.
I was at that game.
What's that?
Because this was my senior season, because, 2013, I graduated spring of 2014. So I'm just trying to think of how many games I was at as you go down the list. So you said the first one was FAU. I was at that opener. Then we also had
Florida.
Bye week, then Florida, correct?
Yes.
I was at that game. Next.
Actually, there wasn't a bye week. The FAU game was a Friday.
Oh, so it was a mini. Well, okay, yeah. So, but I was at both of those games back to back. Next.
Played number 12, Florida. I remember watching that game.
That was an amazing game.
Savannah State 77-7.
Didn't go to that
one. South Florida 49-21.
At that one.
Georgia Tech 45-30.
That one.
UNC 27-23.
Couldn't go to that one. That was at UNC.
There were some close ones here. Wake.
That was a comeback.
21.
That was a beautiful Thursday night comeback.
Wake 24-21.
I was at that. Oh my God. Mark, listen. Okay. There's 3 minutes and 18 seconds left in the football game. Duke Johnson breaks on a 22 stretch to the short side of the field, Mark. Oh my God. He gets to the end zone, Mark. He stretches and puts the ball inside of the far end pylon. I'm watching it with my eyes. They reviewed it and called it a no touchdown. He literally puts the ball inside the pylon. And the ball like kind of bounces out of his hand when he hits the ground. And they wanted to call it a fumble, but they didn't and just said it was no touchdown. And it's clear. Please, if you ever get a chance, look up Duke Johnson's film versus Wake Forest and watch that play. It is mind-blowing that they didn't call that a touchdown. But keep going.
Then came the Florida State game. I remember that one, 41-14. Of course, that Florida State team won the national championship. Lost to Virginia Tech, 42-24. I'm not remembering how good Virginia Tech was in 13. I'm sure they were their typical 9-3, 8-4.
That was homecoming of the 2013 season. We also wore the smoked out U uniform, gray top, white pants, white cleats and orange accessories, black and orange gloves, white helmet with the chrome mask, fading smoke, to the ear, white at the top, and blown U's on the side of the helmet, and got destroyed by Virginia Tech. Third play of the game, Stacey Coley took an 83-yard wide receiver screen to the house. Miami did not touch the end zone again until the middle of the third quarter.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Logan Thomas, who is now a tight end in the NFL, was the starting quarterback for Virginia Tech. 25 of 31 for 366.
Every time we got a big stage, every time.
Just let me back up now so I can check out the rest of the schedule here. Shoot. Well, that's 2 consecutive losses. I think the third loss, shoot, no, I can't get back.
Third one was Duke.
Yes, 48-30.
Yep.
Oh, that Duke team made it to the ACC championship game. Yeah.
Yep, and that Duke team also played Money Manziel in the bowl game.
Yep. Yeah, which was a really good game, like a 52-48 game.
It was a shootout. Yeah. That was the Mike Evans come out show.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course you had that play versus Bama, but that one was he had 8 receptions for 215 and 4 or 5 touchdowns. He went crazy in that game.
Yeah. Duke was up by at least 17. If
they jumped
game,
out
and,
then
so 7-0 turned into 7-3, and then beat Virginia 45-26. Beat Pitt 41-31.
I was at the Virginia game. Tracy Howard took the first play of the game for a screen pass, pick 6 to score. And he got pulled out the game because he was playing man instead of zone, and he got benched for the next 2 drives. Those are the type of coaches we had at Miami. Cornerback coach Paul Johnson pulled him out of the game and sat him for 2 drives because he played man and he recognized the screen and he caught it and scored.
Beat Pitt 41-31, lost to Louisville and Teddy Bridgewater 36-9. Yeah, I remember that game. I remember having it. This might have been Cam's first appearance on my channel, was before the Louisville game to preview the game, the bowl game.
What, Mark, you talk about deflating, because that game was the first bowl game since 2005 or 6. I lied to you. No, it's not. 2009. Because Randy Shannon we lost to Wisconsin in that same game, but it was the Orlando, whatever, that stadium. The Orlando.
Yeah, I'll come up with it. The Champs Sports Bowl. I think it was the Champs Sports Bowl.
Yep, where Sam Shields took a reverse to the house on the first kickoff of the game. Yeah, that was the last bowl game, and then we go back there 4 or 5 years later. And you got to remember, this was basically Miami versus Miami North. I mean, Louisville just was basically stealing who they kind of wanted out of Dade and Broward under Charlie Strong, especially because they had Teddy B, and he was big time in Dade at Miami Northwestern. So yeah. It was hurtful to watch. It was hurtful to watch. They also let me know that I forgot Deion Bush was the one rotational, because he didn't start that season. He was a rotational guy. But because KC 22 and 26 were the 2 starters, and Deion Bush Deion and Jamal Carter. Those were the only. I said Jamal Carter. I didn't say Deion Bush. Also, Artie Burns was on that team. So I missed 2, Artie and Deion Bush.
Did Deion Bush play with the Steelers?
No, that's Artie.
Artie Burns played with the Steelers. That's right. Yeah.
25th overall.
Yep.
2016 draft.
Good stuff. Yeah. Finished at 9-4. 904 Hurricane asking, Wholesome One, do you think the staff is liking what they are seeing out of the young linebackers, since they didn't seem to be any urgency to bring in new recruits? Any chance we still scoop up a linebacker out of the portal?
I want to give them some time to at least see him move. I mean, Coach Diaz has admitted all they've been doing is lifting and having player-led stuff. They haven't been able to do any mat drills, see anybody move, see any of that type of stuff get down. So I don't know for a fact if that old staff was the one who recruited these linebackers. So these brand new coaches, I mean, yeah, they've had a chance to watch film, but they're watching film on everyone. So I don't really know if you want to say that there was no urgency in bringing in more linebackers. I think that's a little unfair because these coaches just got there in like last week. You know what I'm saying? So, and we're very low on our numbers. We already filled out this class, so I don't know where we could go from there. But I don't really see us going to linebacker part. I know everybody was big on the USC linebacker, but I mean he's 6'3", 265, and can't move east and west. He's a heat-seeking missile. He's really big and strong and aggressive, but speed is the name of the game. Speed is the name of the game. So, Mark, before we go on to something else,
yeah,
I have a question for you because it's something that's been in conversation a lot. What are some of the facets of football? As far when I say my facets, I mean like attributes, as far as speed, strength, that you think you're either born with or can be added to you. For your years, decades of watching this sport and seeing young men either come in at like 160 pounds and leave at 215, big, strong, swole dudes. What are some of the things that you can develop over time, and what are some that you either have it or you don't, in your opinion?
All right, you bring up speed first and foremost. You're born with speed. Now, can you improve your speed? Obviously, yeah, you could work with a track coach and you can maximize your technique, and run the right way. And obviously by working out and doing the right exercises, that this is what a lot of people just flat out in America don't get. And I'm not saying I'm an expert at it, but I do my best when I build a workout program to educate myself on, people just go to the gym and they just jump on a treadmill and then they lift weights and then they walk out and they don't really know what their intent or purpose is. So that's very important. So you can improve your speed, but I think the ceilings, you're either fast or you're not fast. Mm-hmm. You're either born with that quick twitch or not. Now, in terms of strength, I think, again, I'm 5'11", 180. This is what I am. This is what I was born with. This frame's only going to be so big. There's only so much potential there. But I do think that there's a larger gap that you can grow into or build from a strength standpoint than a speed standpoint.
Okay.
I think there's more potential for anybody to grow stronger or work toward being stronger than they can to be faster.
Okay.
There are certain things that are connected to either one of those abilities, strength and speed, that aren't either one of them. They are change of direction, quickness in a small period. There are great athletes along the offensive line, but we don't look at them as great athletes because we think of great athletes as guys that can dunk a basketball or run a 440. But they're great athletes for their size and for what they need to do. They're great technicians with their hands. And that's an ability that I think is mostly learned. Mm-hmm. I think that there is some connection between book smarts and intelligence and being able to learn it on a football field. Some connection. Like I would guess that the typical, and again, I'm not saying every particular Stanford player is a smart football player, but I would think that they're generally smarter football players than most football players. Like there is a connection, but it's not a perfect connection. Are there really smart dudes that get A's, straight A's, that just on a football field just can't figure it out? Yeah. Are there dudes off the street that flunk all their classes and just don't get it in a classroom that have football smarts? Absolutely. But I think there is a connection. I think there's a reason why Northwestern plays smart, Stanford plays smart, and those kind of schools generally play smart. The service academies, their players play smart. Most of them. Again, not everybody. What else can we go to here? I was trying to break down, when you think physicality, you think strength and speed.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you think intelligence, obviously, and taking that to the field.
And the reason why I ask these things, because in recruiting, I've always questioned. You're going to recruit a linebacker who's 4'6", 4'7", who's slow. What are you doing?
Yeah, he can only get that much. He can work at it, but he's only going to get a little bit faster. You can maximize. You could probably. What do you think the average dude that runs a 4.7, if he really, really works at it, can run a 4.66, run a 4.64?
4.6. I was gonna say in between from 4.64 up to 4.67, somewhere in there. I mean, because you can get probably like, you're not gonna get a whole second, but you get a lot of temps off of there and cut weight.
Even to extend that point, Wholesome One, it would be one thing if you were saying the only thing this dude's going to be doing is running a 40-yard dash, and we're going to work on his speed. That you can work more with than we just need a fast dude, and he's going to have to run fast in that direction, then that direction, then that direction. So he doesn't have time, or he cannot think about, I need to run like this all the time and keep my arms. It'd be one thing if we're saying we're training this dude just to run a 40-yard dash. That you can work with. But to improve a person's speed that much when they're playing a game and having to run in 82 different directions. No.
And then there's also there's football field speed. There might be guys who they know exactly where they're going. They know where you're going, especially at linebacker. They know where you're trying to go. They know based off of what formation, 9 times out of 10, they know where their players are going to be, so they know what gaps are open. So it makes them look even faster. You get what I'm saying? But I look at a player like Ray Lewis, who reported to Miami at 215. Leaving Miami, he was like 232. Year 3 or 4 in the NFL, he's pushing like 265. Ray was like, I think he was 270 in 2000, 2001. That dude looked out of this world. It was over time, though. You know what I'm saying? But yes, that's a long time ago. But I look at guys like Shaq Quarterman. I mean, are we not supposed to recruit him? No. But to switch it to a 4-2-5 scheme, where a guy who's already slow, and now you expect him to cover even more ground, where you don't have the defensive ends to bounce it back inside of him. You don't have a playmate next to him that can really fly, because Mike Pinckney ain't that faster than him. What are we doing? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? You look at a guy, Romeo Finley, made the perfect transition. He's a slow safety, but he was solid enough at striker to look really good. But then we made an even better upgrade. A corner who was too big to be cornered, moved to safety, was too slow, and then he moves to striker, and he argument to me, he won my MVP, and Gilbert Frierson. He was the best player on that football field for the Miami Hurricanes this year. Most consistent, showed up in every game, made big plays. Okay, but that's having enough foresight to see what a young man does well, what he isn't too good at just yet, and let's find a position to maximize him at that, what he can do for the team. The days of just having a solid tackler who can't cover, who's a big hitter at safety, are gone. That doesn't make any logical sense. You sit the young man down and you say, here are 2 pieces of paper. One is the game plan at linebacker. The other one is a transfer script. You figure out which one you want to fill out. Because the years of us wasting players has to stop, Mark. I reiterate this story for new hashtag rewatch squad people. I'll take the last 10 years. I won't even go back any further. Okay. Ray Armstrong played safety at Miami. Mark, what did he play in the NFL?
Didn't he play linebacker?
Okay, next. Let's go to the next one. A couple seasons later, Miami recruits a 6'2", 200-pound plus strong safety by the name of Jamal Carter. Played strong safety at Miami. What did he play in the NFL, Mark?
Linebacker.
Oh, okay. Just so you see how this is going? Okay, no problem. All right. So one was 6'2.5", 6'3", 215, and Ray Armstrong. The other one is 6'2", 205. Okay. So we get to another prospect. Similar size, same style player. Little less athlete than Jamal or Ray Armstrong, right? His name happens to be, same last name, Amari Carter. Played safety at Miami. If he wants to sniff the National Football League, spend the next 6 months building muscle and training out of a 2-point stance going forward, not taking steps backwards. And I promise you, you will sign a piece of paper to play in the National Football League. It's just that simple. It's no way we claim to be historians of this program and study this programs and have those examples of players who are almost identical to what you do. In the minute that they had to have people invest in them to go out there and play and make plays for them, what are they switching to? Linebacker. So we don't have to keep having this conversation. We don't have to keep arguing about it. Either you come down in the box or you enter the transfer portal. Just that simple. Or you can stand with me on the sideline and help send in signals. That's always cool too. But if you want to continue to play, put on 10, 15. You're already 212. Patrick Queen, who just got drafted in the first round by my Ravens, was like 228 pounds. How is this so hard? How? Good God, man. Well, I say all of that to say this simple. Some things you're born with. Some things you can help, but they're not going to go from someone being even a 4.5 guy, which isn't slow, isn't going to wake up as much training as he can is not going to be a 4.3 guy. Okay. One thing you can build is strength. So if you come with speed and I put proper weight on you and add strength, you're not going to get that slow because you're already built with nice speed. Oh, so one of them I can add to you, and it only takes away a little bit. The other one, if you're 280, even if I bring you down to 240, you're not going to be that fast. You're not going to be flying like that. Okay. So I'm going to keep saying this, Mark. Every week I'm going to bring up Amari Carter. Hashtag Amari Carter to linebacker. Bring it up. I started it today, right there. Hashtag Amari Carter to linebacker. Let's get it rolling on Twitter, guys.
Well, part of the reason I answered the question the reason I answered it the way I answered it was I was drawing somewhat on personal experience and just thinking about my own measly high school athletic career. And I'm no great athlete. Was I a decent athlete? Am I a better athlete than most people walking down the street? I actually am, but am I anything close to no way. But I could run a 4.58 40. But I was 158 pounds when I was a senior in high school. What are you looking at?
As a senior, Mark?
I was only weighing 158. Yeah.
Mark, I remember the last time I was on the other side of 200.
So yeah, so I'm telling you that what I'm saying is, so I'm thinking speed. Did I ever try to be fat? Whatever you think of 4.58, it's faster than most people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is it top end speed? No, but it's faster than like just about anybody in my high school. But was I a skinny kid? Yeah, I don't even, some people have looked at me and said, you must be a swimmer. Yeah, I don't have a football build at all. Thin guy. But I do know that even at 158 pounds tops in high school, that when I started lifting weights, when I was like in 8th grade, 9th grade, I'm throwing up like 115 or 20 pounds on the bench. But by the time I graduate from high school and I'm into college, I'm throwing up 300 because I worked at it.
Right.
Could I have gotten that much faster? A little bit. If I would have worked with a track coach, yeah, maybe I ran a 4.52 or something like that.
Right.
I wouldn't have improved at all. But strength-wise, I still had a pretty skinny frame, but I worked at it, and I increased my bench press to 300 pounds.
And if we're going personal, look at it. For me, okay, I had the natural as someone who played both ways in high school. I worked my behind off to play, and I get to college. Of course, I'm 5'11", so I'm not 6'4". You know what I'm saying? So I would have to go to the outside because the inside is big dudes. So I'm blitzing off the edge, moving off the weak side, right? Well, over time, 240 turned into 265, turned into 275, turned into 280. So then you could creep inside, and what are you bringing to the table at defensive tackle if you've been at defensive end for a long time? Quickness, athleticism, use of hands. Our defensive line coach talks about that all the time. I want to make strong side defensive ends, put weight on them, and make them defensive tackles. And then if you're a 3 technique and you grow into a 1 technique, then I switch you over to 1 technique. So we can have the foresight to understand that a big DN can move to D tackle. We don't have the foresight to understand that a big safety who can't cover hasn't already made the move to linebacker. Oh, okay. Hashtag Amari Carter the linebacker. Just that simple.
It's always a good time with the Wholesome One. Joins us each and every week to talk Miami football for an hour plus with you. So we hope you appreciate it. Please head on over to his YouTube channel, the Wholesome One Holloway, HOLSUM, the number 1, Wholesome One Holloway. And these guys all get together tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern time on Paul's Scoop on the U channel to break down Miami football. All right, good stuff. Wholesome One, appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it, man. You guys have a great day, and as always, go Canes.